The Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC, has announced recovery of its single largest asset to date, a sprawling estate in the Goma district of Abuja. The estate, which spans 150,500 square meters and comprises 753 units of duplexes and other apartments, was forfeited following a court ruling on Monday. According to a statement released by the EFCC, the estate, located on plot 109, cadastral zone C09, was forfeited in a judgment delivered by Justice Jude Onwuegbuzie. In his ruling, Justice Onwuegbuzie noted that a former government official linked to the property failed to demonstrate that it was not acquired with proceeds of unlawful activities. The EFCC alleges the estate was built using funds from fraudulent activities and emphasized that its forfeiture is a key step in stripping the suspect of illegally acquired assets. And for more on this, we're joined by a public policy analyst and, of course, a former chairman, Inter-Party Advisory Council, and that's Peter Ameh. Good afternoon. Glad to have you join me on the news.
Good afternoon.
Let me begin by asking, what was your first impression when you heard of the news of the final forfeiture? Was it a surprise to you or not?
No, it's not a surprise because we have maintained that Nigeria has no revenue problem, Nigeria has no money problem. That what Nigeria has is corruption problem. And that corruption problem is the reason why a lot of our people are suffering. And that I've also maintained that this issue of EFCC trying to now work, like is a reactive measure, at the end of the tenure of each of these public officers. It does not really help Nigerians so much because we need to have a proactive system put in place by the EFCC and the ICPC to nip this process in the board, working with NFIU and making sure that this account, that monies are paid to, or the printing of our money by the CBN, or the disbursement of cash by CBN to commercial banks. These processes must be a process that will be made transparent and must be put before the Economic and Financial Crime and the ICPC. Because we cannot continue this way. 753 houses seized from one man. There are a lot of things, like this that are unknown to us. And see, public service, people working in private sector can't work and raise money to build houses. There's no federal mortgage system that is responsible enough that people can go and say that I'm earning 100,000, I will pay for the next 15 years and I will live in a 3-bedroom apartment. So we have a corruption problem, an indiscipline problem. And instead of government to concentrate on that, government is going on a white good chase because government must try to make sure that our corruption problem is resolved and that the leakages that allow such pilfering of our public wealth, of our common resources, to be so used by one individual to acquire such monumental property should be nipped in the bud immediately.
Mr. Ameh,
because we don't know
talking about Nigerians and how people are perceiving this, particular issue, Nigerians have, expressed very mixed reactions about non-disclosure of the offender's identity. But some say it may not be absolute freedom yet because the matter could still go on appeal. Do you fear we may be rejoicing just too early?
Look, I don't think it's very early. What the EFCC have done is very bad. The court records are there. And the EFCC cannot say that they don't know the person that they are investigating. Because this embodying those who are corrupt. This helps to promote the culture of impunity and culture of corruption. Because naming and shaming is also part of the process. If you have your facts right, and the facts that you are presented before the FCT High Court are there, you are going to see present the same facts to the appeal court and the Supreme Court. Because you cannot, there are times that the Yahoo boys, or not these Yahoo boys who are actually also affecting the bringing culture of corruption to our system, are arrested and they are paraded like common criminals. They are paraded like those who have used them armed to rob people. So there should not be an exemption when it comes to anti-corruption crusade. Because what the FCC have done is to say there are bigger thieves that must be respected, which privacy must be respected, and that's not what is good for our society. If you look at where...
Well, I was just going to follow up with your line of thoughts there, but proceed. I was going to ask you...
If you look at countries that have achieved success, like China, like Singapore, South Korea, one of the first things that they did was to make sure that the issue of corruption has no scapegoating system, where some persons may be treated with a different interpretation of the law, while some are treated with very stringent interpretation of the law. So there's no scapegoating system is the problem that the ordinary Yahoo boy will face. But we must put a compressive system in place that those who have still stolen public funds, in normal community parlance, these are thieves. You can use whatever criminal terminology that is, that is being used in public sphere to define, because when you take what does not belong to you, you have stolen that what belongs to all of us. And the reason why Nigerians' economy is not booming, why the industrialization is not moving, is that resources that are meant to invest in this side so that young people can get jobs are not being invested. And we cannot continue. So we need to solve our corruption problem. We need to solve the leakages that are in our government. And we need to make sure that this such crime against our people does no longer happen, because it is uncalled for. And I think people who carry out such level of stealing should be made to go through psychiatric evaluation, because this is a mental disease. There's nobody who needs any of this kind of resources. Nobody. I can say it anywhere. Even if it's your best, those who have made money like Big Gate and Co., you find that they are giving half of the money to charity, because none of this money we live after one particular generation. So it is better that you live an egalitarian spirit in a society where you must have contributed diligently to promote the system of equity, the system of growth and system of development, so that you can write your name on the sign of time like people like Jack Conde have done in Lagos. So it is unfortunate that we have this kind of system, and it is unfortunate that EFCC did not name the persons that is actually being questioned. But it is not no longer a secret. People already know that when monies are printed, when instructions are given for money to be burnt in the CBN, those who are the aim of affairs of this organization have personally, taken this money to enrich their personal pocket rather than to do what is right. And the cost of inflation today, the cost of our dropping of GDP today, are also as a result of some of this reckless sense of financial aggrandizement.
Talking about EFCC, let's narrow down on their recent history. The forfeiture of 753 duplexes is a feat in quite some measure, you may agree. Can you identify anything whatsoever done differently to make sure this case wasn't thrown out of court? And also, for want of diligent prosecution, which we often see at times.
I think I know the case is already very well tightly knitted before EFCC could present this case, because you have to prove the source of this income. And from what the judge has said, that the person involved have not proved that there's speculation in public cycle, not from New Central, but it's public cycle that these places belong to the former central bank governor, that the person has not proven enough that he has worked privately without taking government money to build this resources, to build this estate of 753 houses. But what EFCC should do is what they're already doing. This is not the first time EFCC is getting judgment about forfeiture. They have been doing it. The only thing we have to say is that this estate should not be made to go to waste or to dilapidate beyond repair or beyond use before they decide to allocate it to hard-working Nigerians who work in the ministry of any ministry in Nigeria, who are public servants, who cannot have access to such edifice within the Federal Capital Territory. This should be given to them directly. We should not wait, because there are a lot of cars, there are a lot of property that are also been seized by EFCC that we no longer have access to, and we don't know where it is. The public must continue to engage the EFCC. The public must get involved with the EFCC, and the EFCC must continue to do its job and also reinvent itself by, like I said, not being reactive but being proactive. Because this level of stealing no country can prosper with this level of stealing. No country can create an enabling environment for people to be gainfully employed with this kind of public stealing. This is stealing by what they call it, like fella calling, authority stealing. And we must make sure that this case is prosecuted to the full extent of the law by making sure that the public outcry, the citizens' advocacy and engagement with the EFCC continue to be a 24 hours issue. so that we don't go to sleep and then wake up that there's a new arrangement between the government and those who own the property to go with half of it and give half to government. This is what we should do as citizens. Citizen engagement is key. Citizen participation in this process is also key. And EFCC will know that we also are watching them and that they should quickly, pursue this case to a logical conclusion, and also auction these houses at the barest minimum cost to those who are interested, who are Nigerians, whose salaries are below 500,000 naira a month. There's no way they should auction it to anybody who is below above that, and then give it so that Nigerians can know that they can also enjoy the resources that has been given to their fatherland. These are my very honest advice.
It's interesting you. Apologies for butting there, Mr. Ameh. It's interesting you touched on public outcry. Now let's look at public morality, which seems to be non-existent today in Nigeria in light of how people have to wait for legal procedures before they own up to what they have done. How much damage does this do to our society?
The moral fabric of our society has actually been broken to the extreme level, because you are there, you are doing very hard work. You wake up every morning, you read your script, you come, you read, you cast news, and you do invest, and then you get paid, and then get whatever you want. People, in those days, in the 70s and 60s, a lot of people in your community will honor you for your hard labor. But today, somebody could just get elected into the House of Reps, the House of Assembly, and steal public fund, and then go back to communities, and you find out that they roll out on talking drums and all that on the behalf of the person. The society has also contributed to the decay that we're experiencing in our moral fabric today, because the society has been so broken. Because you can't take a sampling from outside the society. Whatever sampling we are taking is within the spectrum of those who are Nigerians. And when you take a sampling from that, and every sampling you are taking and you are putting in government is bad, is that there's something wrong generally with our moral attitude. Our people also have encouraged corruption. When you come with 5 convoys, 20 convoys, they say you have capacity. When you come with intellectual prowess and you try to speak English, they say only English they speak. So the people too are at a fault in some essence. So we must all come together and agree it's time to save this country from the spiral downward, they call it fall that is currently expressing.
And that's a fine place to wrap up. I wish we had more time. Thank you so much for your time on the news. Peter Ameh, Public Policy Analyst, former Chairman, Inter-Party Advisory Council. Many thanks indeed.